Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in that wonderful technicolor rainbow in between, welcome to tonight's coverage of the Aegis Executioner League here on Aegis Esports. I am Bo3, and joining me tonight is an old friend, someone I've casted with a few times before. It's Nash. How are we doing tonight, Nash?
Doing good, Brittany. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm really excited to be here. Two Titans in the Aegis Executioner League for us tonight. Big match going on right now. We got some really familiar faces. So Optimal Esports Dynasty versus Iridescent Dawn Ignite. There's been a lot of commotion about these two teams. Brittany, what have you got to say?
Well, these are the two teams that are sitting at the top of our standings currently over in the, I believe it's the Hextech division, Chemtech division. I know my team names, don't you worry. Both of these teams are sitting at only one loss apiece, while one of them is 3-1 and the other is 4-1, just because of the way that the Chemtech division had to be set up. One team gets a bye every week, so eventually everybody will end with the same score. But for now, it is that top of the standing scoreline, and essentially, this is to decide which one of these two teams gets to eat their second loss and who can potentially take sole possession of first place, depending on how the Dorado Gaming Epsilon matchup goes tonight as well. Now, on one of the sides tonight, we do have Optimal Esports Dynasty. They are one of the 3-1 teams. They've got Tarps, Kirov, Rutledge, which is a name that should be very familiar to anybody who's paid attention to leagues around this area, Maze, and QERW in support with substitutes Evil Zara and Lion D. Kaiser.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking like a pretty scary lineup so far, as you said. They've been really working on their gameplay so far. Rutledge has been pulling out a lot of different things in his scrims, as well as the games he's been playing in this league so far. I'm really excited to see what Optimal Esports can pull out. While on the other side of things, Iridescent Dawn Ignite, they've been looking strong too. 4-1 coming in. Only played one more game than OE because of the scheduling, how it's been working so far, but still coming out strong.
Yeah, we have Sean in the top lane, not important. Zooey, we'll show them all, and Mollywops rounding out that roster in the support with Ice and Who's over there in the substitute slots. Now, I believe, if I'm remembering my placements right, we do have all 5 of the starting members for both teams here tonight, which should be pretty exciting. There is always a lot of talk in leagues around this ELO when I'm going to make a particular call here. When Rutledge is on a team, he is a player who is known for taking charge when he is on a roster and making sure that the team plays to a particular style that he knows and he likes and can play around. He's a player who is known for being a great in-game leader for the team, and that's what we've been seeing out of this OED roster so far. They've had a lot of success playing towards Rutledge there in the mid lane.
Yeah, the IGL coming in from Rutledge has to come in clutch right now if they want this match to be successful. Now, the ban is coming in through, so Akshan going to be taking it away. Actually, pretty, not the most prevalent in the mid lane meta for competitive play, but in solo queue, he's actually a pretty oppressive lane bully and is pretty underrated in my opinion, despite the nerfs he's been getting, especially since like Marksman mid meta has been popping up as of late this far into the split of the season, with Mordekaiser Lilia bans coming out as well as Urgot, Zeri, and Seraphine, and we already got a Skarner lock in.
Yeah, that insta lock of Skarner. Now, Skarner has gotten quite a few nerfs thrown at him since his most recent time of dominating in the top lane and jungle, but he's still a very impressive champion up there in the top side, a tank to be reckoned with, a force that is going to be difficult to deal with. But if you want to deal with tanks and you got tank shred, Trundle is one of your best ways to go. So IDI are actually just going to lock that one away as the counter. Trundle's not a champion I feel like we've been seeing very much, but as people are starting to realize the champions like Ornn, Malphite, Skarner, these champions are really, really good, I expect that we'll be seeing more champions like Trundle start to come around drafts.
Not only is Trundle good into tanks, but he excels into engaged tanks, and Skarner is a very good engaged tank. The pillar can really kind of mess you up. Trundle plays front to back really well with the AD reduction on his bite and the subjugate, as we said, the stat ceiling. Leona getting locked in for Iridescent Dawn, probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, engaged supports in the current meta state at the moment. Love seeing Leona getting played a lot now. So many plays you can make with this champion, aggressive laning style. There's a lot of flexibility you can And with the amount of CC she has, her roams are very, very deadly. Now, that being said,
whoa,
Smolder gonna be locked in, as well as the Ziggs for Rutledge here. So the Smolder Ziggs, maybe Rutledge taking a pick out of APA's book, potentially. But in Smolder, not something you see too often. Very odd hyper carry. Doesn't get online as fast as other traditional hyper carries in the meta. And now Iridescent Dawn gonna round it out with the Misfortune.
Yeah, I think picking Smolder into Leona is a very scary lane, even without thinking about the other sides of the matchup. Just Smolder is pretty immobile. You're going to force him to take cleanse because you are playing the Leona, and when you have Trundle who can activate some crowd control that can't be cleansed away from with that pillar, and Misfortune now paired up with Leona, who is such an insane lane bully. That first item, Bloodthirster Spike, is just so incredible on this champion. I think this Smolder is in for a very difficult time, especially now with the second wave of bans coming through. You can ban away some of these comfort supports like the Braum that IDR has already taken away. So for OED, I'm already concerned about this bottom lane matchup because Leona Misfortune, I think, has to be one of the strongest early and mid-game bottom lane combos that we have right now.
Yeah, the Smolder, without the protection he can get in the early game, he can get pounced on so hard already by this Leona. There's gotta be something in the way to prevent her from potentially jumping onto the backline. With the Braum being banned away, common counter pick, not really into Leona, which is a good pick, but especially into the Misfortune, it's gonna make OED have to kind of survey more of their options. Now, the Hyperdinger and the Malphite going to be taken away. Now, the Malphite's quite interesting. I wasn't really looking for Iridescent Dawn to actually lock that one in, but the Renekton being banned away.
Available.
Now, Aurora.
She's enabled. Okay, we get our first Aurora here on stream for the Executioner League. I'm super excited for this particular pick because this is a champion that I've been waiting to try and cast for, as she has been a menace in solo queue.
Yes, absolutely. Pretty good lane bully if you play her top lane. The Ornn going to be locked in just as a safe blind pick for optimal esports now. But with this Aurora pick, you have to consider that even though she has a lot of mobility and has really good laning phase with the wave clear she has, she's very much so on the shorter range end of a lot of AP mages in this game. You have to realize she has to play a lot around her mobility. However, because of the mobility, she can play skirmishes very, very well if she just positions correctly and is able to just traverse the team fight. Now, here comes the Nautilus as a pretty standard engage pick support. You've been seeing it all the time. You've been watching high elo or pro. Commonly, in this support lane matchup, Leona pretty much has the edge into the Nautilus here. Really easy to just lock him up if he tries to dredge line somebody, but can kind of go either way still. Really just dependent on the player. Whoa! Ooh. Look at what we got here.
So that Aurora is going to be headed into the mid lane. I was holding on to whether that was going to be a flex up towards the top lane to try and bully out Ornn, her lore-based friend, but no. They're going to be sending Aurora mid lane versus Ziggs, and I think this range problem for Aurora is going to be exacerbated in this matchup. Ziggs is just going to start making that life very, very difficult for Aurora. But on the top side, looking at Ornn versus Alawi, I feel like Alawi just has a field day up here.
Not fun at all. Alawi eats tanks for breakfast. Percent HP damage on her tentacles, huge sustain. Ornn has basically little to no mobility to be able to dodge the Test of Spirit, her E, and that's probably the biggest thing in the Alawi matchup. You dodge the E or you dodge the game.
Yep. It's going to be a difficult one up there on the top side, but I think for the most part, top lane is going to be kind of an island here for both sides, as we have a very volatile mid and bottom lane matchup. The Skarner should probably be looking to protect this Smolder. Ziggs is going to have prio in mid lane just because of the better wave clear over Aurora, I believe. I'm still figuring out this champion. I think her wave clear is good, kind of, but not Ziggs good, not without wasting her whole rotation at the very least. So
it's decent after one item. Obviously she does need items to actually deal damage, because her abilities do deal reduced damage to her Q, deals reduced damage to minions as a way to like just not give her perma wave clear. But after like rank 9 Q and like one item and some change, she'll be able to clear waves like it's basically nothing.
Yeah, but at that point, Ziggs will already be in the same spot, so I feel like Ziggs should probably have priority for the most of this laning phase. But on the bottom side, Smolder Nautilus versus Leona Misfortune, both of these supports, like you mentioned, engaged supports. They want to go in, they want to fight hard. But Smolder versus Misfortune is just, hey, MF is going to get Bloodthirster. She's going to be one of the strongest AD carries first item spike. And Smolder is still trying to get to like 125, maybe getting to like over 100 at that point in the game.
You know that meme where it's like, is that really all you need? And it's like Zeri with the shopping cart of like 6 items, and then it's just Smolder with his 225. Yeah, that's what I think about every time I see Smolder in a draft, or like, you know, in like on someone's team. It's just, you know, that's all he really needs, honestly. But like, you know, item spikes, much stronger in MF in the early game. Obviously, Smolder will be that late game scaling champion that, honestly, if that Smolder gets online, I don't know how well Iridescent Dawn is going to be able to deal with it without landing like full Leona combo on it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rough matchup the later this game goes, looking at Ornn, Ziggs, Smolder in the late game. But if IDI can shut it out early with their Leona Misfortune Trundle, they can just start to run the game over. It's just going to be a matter of snowballing versus surviving here in game number 1. Now, before I cut you to a short break, I do have to give a quick shout out to our sponsor of tonight, Pro Comps. And we'll see you on the other side of this ad break when we get onto the rift for game number 1 between OED and IDI. Don't go anywhere.
Quick shout out to Pro Comps, our sponsor and a game changer app for the league community. This isn't just like the other tools. It's your personal draft coach, perfect for both teams and solo players. In fact, you can pair it with any other app you use. Pro Comps stands out with features like custom champion pools, personalized tier lists, and live draft advice. Think of it as having a virtual coach and a strategy toolkit all in one. They offer real-time champ and ban recommendations. They already have over 200,000 downloads and thousands of daily users just like you. ProComps is user-friendly and totally free. It is a no-brainer to at least give it a go. Download ProComps now and you'll experience a whole new level of drafting power in your league games. Go to procomps.gg, download it from Overwolf, or click the panel below on our stream.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here on the Rift. It's game number 1. It's Optimal Esports Dynasty, and it's Iridescent Dawn Ignite. Some spicy drafts here for game 1. It's going to be interesting to see how things work out. Now, Nash, I want to call out immediately what I'm noticing here. Maze on this Smolder, reset and draft. Hey, if this is no cleanse, Smolder is going to be in trouble, and I'm looking at a teleport.
Yeah, so the TP is quite useful in like situations where Smolder, you know, kind of like gets ganked hard, gets doped, quickly TPs back to lane, gets shoved. But however, the later the game goes on, you don't really want this ADC to be splitting unless like OED wants Maze to split harder in order to get solo stacks and solo XP off of waves he could get in the side lane. So that could be potentially why they could be running the TP. However, I do agree with you that the cleanse might have been like way more useful here because they really only have one champion that has the hard CC, and the cleanse would have just been so much more useful there. Because, well, I really don't want to see Maze wasting 1,300 gold on a QSS.
Yeah, paying that QSS tax would be rough, but I do also want to point out Zooey on this Aurora. The Electrocute tells me that they want to build more for burst than they do for sustain damage. We were talking a little bit off broadcast about what the potential build path for Zooey here was going to be. Because I've been seeing things like Leandries plus Roa, I've been seeing Malignant Shadow Flame, I've been seeing Lichbane Nashers as well. So I'm interested to see what the actual build path is going to be here in the early.
So with Electrocute, it gives Aurora a little more lane power. Well, she's eating Ziggs bombs like it's, you know, her breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the moment. But yeah, the Electrocute, she's able to proc it with auto Q1 and then Q pullback. She's able to just chunk the Ziggs so hard in this lane. However, as we said before, Ziggs with the honestly the built-in safety with the range of his ability, it's gonna be hard for Zooey to actually walk up in this lane. As you can see, they're already almost half HP. What interests me though is Redledge rushing Tyr, the goddess here in this lane. Not something you see too often on a mage mid lane. Usually the Doran's Wing just like provides so many good stats that you really don't want to miss on. So I think Redledge is really playing the long-term game, knows that Zooey really doesn't have jurisdiction in this lane, therefore he can just say, I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, I think playing for that first item, Seraphs, or maybe even just sitting on the tier while they pick up Leandries or Blackfire Torch, as we often see players do. But just relying on the basic damage of those abilities instead of the extra little bit of AP to get off of Doran's for that bit of extra poke. We'll see how Zooey ends up surviving the lane. I think our thing to watch in this laning phase will be CS numbers, and so far it's actually pretty good for Zooey. Still at relatively even as opposed to some of the other more difficult matchups where we're already seeing Sean up there on the top side get a 5 CS lead and about the same in the bottom lane as well.
Yeah. Nice sidestep earlier on the test of spirit there. Terps, honestly, playing the lane pretty decently so far. He did eat one spirit pull earlier from Sean. Now he just really has to kind of play his movement. I really hope he didn't go magical footwear in this lane because I think tier 2 boots rush in this matchup. Oh, here we go here.
Yeah, we were talking about this off broadcast as well. Just the disrespect that people give to Or. One more flash auto, burst blood over to Terps. It'll be traded back, but a hell of a show for the Or to the top side.
1-for-1, gets the wave shoved in. It's gonna bounce back to Terps. It did cost him his flash, but also burned Sean's flash and his TP. Terps doesn't have to TP at all, not that the wave is slow pushing back towards him, so I say 1-for-1 worth.
Yeah, especially since Terps is going to be able to save the teleport here, given the wave state, a huge pickup for the Ornn in the early game. We mentioned that Alawi's this lane bully. This should not be a lane where Ornn is ever able to get any sort of agency or jurisdiction, but a first blood solo kill feels pretty good in a matchup like this.
And really disrespecting the power of the Ornn, the damage built into the kit here, as here comes the Zenith Blade here.
Mollywops looking for the Zenith Blade and Ignite down onto Maze. I think they're just looking for some extra damage. They know the Smolder has no resources left. Gonna munch on a biscuit there to get some mana back, but
no,
yeah, it's a rough spot for Maze.
Yeah, no mana for Maze. I really doesn't look like he took presence of mind at all, considering, or he has really, really bad resource management at the moment. Maze isn't really playing the lane as well as he could be. It looks like he might be spamming too many abilities at the moment. Fortunately, he does have the teleport in order to get back to the lanes as quick as possible. Now, more fighting in the top lane here, but the first dragon has spawned. It's going to be the Chemtech Drake for this map.
Well, hang on, because that's our second dragon, because Smolder spawned, and that's a dragon.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I forgot about that. We're going to get canceled recalls?
Oh, just on Mollywops, now stuck in a 1v2. I think we'll show them all. Probably should have stuck around. As Nook's not going to land on the Mollywops. They'll get the flash out of Leona, who importantly does not have a Hex Flash, so a big summoner loss there for Mollywops.
I really don't think Mollywops had to flash there. Maze does not do damage. This champion does not do damage without stacks. Like, Mollywops is playing one of the tankiest support champions in the game at the moment, and like I feel like burning the flash was very, like, you know, ambitious, as I would say. Now the dragon's taken
through for Kirov, but they are going to die right next to not important. And now QERW forced to try and get on the run. Rutledge with a nice satchel charge keeps the support safe, but trades the jungler's life for the securing of the dragon.
Yeah, that between worlds coming in from Zuli really just ensures that Kirov is not able to escape, even with him trying to tunnel through those dragon pit walls. So yeah, not going to be able to get out of that. So a kill traded, but the dragon secured. Game state is still a little, you know, I'd say it's pretty even though IDI is up a bit of gold just because they got one more kill on the board. But however, OED really just, again, trying to play the long term. They're not trying to make too many proactive plays, which I like. Playing the scaling game with this composition, you have the Ornn, the Ziggs, and the Smolder, especially just trying to play towards their late game strengths. They know they don't want to fumble too hard. So these objectives that they're securing, that they're trying to prioritize, is really, really good for them.
Yeah, we are going to have a bit of a scuffle here as two grubs were taken by OED. Now, QERW trying to get out. That Zenith Blade isn't going to land, though. Mollywops only level 4, so potentially a little bit squishy, but not important. He's going to make QERW even squishier with the Subjugate. Knocks that one down. It was still two grubs secured for OED, so I think a good trade for them in the long term. Kirov sticking around, maybe looking for a chance to get his blue buff back, but I think might have overstayed. Call the Forge God not called from Terps. They're looking just to disengage here and try and get away. Spike comes through, so not important. He's going to grab that blue buff, and everyone will walk away. But a couple of big losses there for OED for overstaying.
I really would have thought they would have just given the blue buff. I think that was a best case scenario. Now, Terps doesn't have his ult. However, I don't think there's going to be any like big fight for Terps to actually use the ultimate, the Call of the Forge God, in like the next few minutes. One grub was taken by Kirov for OED. If IEI get their hands on like 5 grubs, it's gonna be a big problem because Sean's gonna be just taking turrets left and right with the little grubbies, the true damage. Maze gets his recall canceled. As I explained that.
A little bit of a greedy recall spot as Rutledge will get engaged on there. A bit of weirding from Zooey, but not much else. Outside of that, yeah, it was 2 grubs taken for OED, so there's no chance at 5, but thankfully for IDI, the change to 4 grubs spawning that one Void Might means that they still have a chance to get that spawn, depending on how they play the next spawn. But for now, wave states are going to go back to normal, lane states are going to get normalized a little bit. Zooey is going to get picked up through that invisibility. Kirov does have the level 6, but the ulti burn from Zooey means that no extra engage is going to come through. Rutledge looking for a bit of extra damage, but doesn't have enough just yet, so everyone will walk away. For now, not important is here. Pillar available, going to knock Rutledge back very nicely. Force the flash over the wall, but not important has that flash as well. Is looking for more. It's a nice stun into the wall, but Zooey manages to find it over the wall. A nice flash and a hop and a skip, and walks away with a free kill.
That was a great counter gank from Not Important. A lot of flashes burn, very much so in favor of Iridescent. Done. I feel like Kirov overestimated his abilities. Obviously, you know, if he lands the Impale, then Zooey dies. But Zooey played that really well with the Between Worlds, being able to either A, buffer it. Oh, we got a 1v1 in the jungle here.
Yeah, Kirov, I think, again, greeting for a buff, but no team to support her this time, so we'll get picked up. Yikes. Not
It's
good.
kind of, I mean, this is kind of what happens when you have double weak side lanes. You have Ornn versus Alawi, and then you have a Smolder versus MF Leona. Like, even if you have the Nautilus here, Not Important has just so much jurisdiction in the jungle because of how strong his laners' early games are.
Oh, hook in from QERW. There's the solar flare on to Maze, but I think it's just disengaged. They're looking for some damage on the QERW, who is not super tanky on the Nautilus just yet. Forced to flash away, that Ignite ticking, but it won't find the last hit. QERW manages to survive, but again, aggression from the OED bottom lane when I really don't think there needs to be.
Burn the barrier from will shield them all. Now they're just gonna be able to get this lane shoved in. Maze is low on mana. Gonna try to clear this wave, so they're not gonna play for anything else. You see, Not Important just kind of recalled, wanted to just clear his camps, get that tempo continued for him. He's already so ahead in this jungle. 3 kills with 1 item completion, and up about 9 CS here. Rutledge getting kind of flanked by Zooey, but nothing really to be made of. The second dragon's going to be spawning, and you already see the vision control coming in from IEI on that bottom side. They know that this Ocean Drake is very strong, even by itself, even without the soul, so they're gonna try to just prioritize stuff here as QERW gets hooked up.
Yeah, no priority from mid lane, no priority from your jungle, no priority from your bottom lane means that the Nautilus isn't just food for the taking. Zooey's gonna pop that Between Worlds to stick Kira between a wall and a hard place. Oh, that's rough, buddy. Kirov gets knocked down, and this should be a free Ocean Dragon for IDI.
Yeah, jungler gone, no contest whatsoever. Not Important, it's just so strong, especially with this Leona being able to move for him. That Between Worlds really kind of screwed over Kirov, as we saw in that bottom side fight. Now, this dragon's going to be secured, like, you know, as we said before. Terps trying to survive here. It's really hard for him to do that, and here comes another test of spirit.
There wasn't even a leap of faith there. Terps is just under about 3rd HP. Sean has the ability to look for a dive here, but I think is careful about that Call of the Forge God. Terps is going to get that knockup to try and deny a little bit of time, but Sean just pops that leap of faith. Terps could die with Tentacle Slam, so keep your eye on that side of your screen. Sean, he's going to start to get some Tentacle Slams, but I think Kira might have enough damage. Sean getting very low, but the sustain from those Tentacles is so huge. Flashes away from the Impale as well. Kira can't find it, but Terps flashes forward to get the Call of the Forge God. Can they find the second hit? No! Sean sidesteps it just barely.
Wow, honestly, it looked pretty scary. I think if Sean was a little patient with his ultimate, it's an easy kill on the Kirov there. He kind of did greed for the dive on the Terps. However, Terps was able to thin out the minion wave under his tower successfully. The TP is just going to come in from Sean, so he's just going to keep shoving and shoving. Terps is probably going to lose this tower here topside, and as you can see, Not Important playing for these grubs topside. It's going to add more split pushing power to Sean himself. Already rushed the Black Cleaver, so that any of this armor that Ornn builds is just going to be severely negated a lot. Sean up about 3 plates to 0, so he's just going to keep shoving this Ornn in over and over and over until this turret falls.
Yeah, I think this is really what we expected out of this top lane matchup. The CS differential is that on pauses, Rutledge getting engaged in. It's a nice solar flare. The Between Worlds as well. They're throwing everything at this poor little rat. Rutledge gets knocked down. Kirov, though, maybe looking for some right edges. Zooey takes some heavy tower shots. The Aftershock proc, one more rock to the face, and Zooey will go down. But now, Kirov, you're stuck in a 1v2, and Not Important is very strong on the Trundle, so we'll knock that one down. A big win for IDI. A nicely executed dive.
Play safe mid lane, they said. It's really easy, they said, as another
Gage on the bottom lane will show them all. He's going to start to get CC'd up, but that Bloodthirster, you can see this Misfortune so damn hard to knock down. The lifesteal is putting in a lot of work, but QERW is putting in a little bit more. Has to flash away from that bit of a sneeze from Maze, but now Not Important is here, and again is going to collect onto the mistakes of the OED side. That Titanic Hydra putting in work on QERW. Will be able to walk away, though, thanks to all that CC Hook not lands on a not important, and I think that's important for QERW because that hook probably meant death.
Yeah, absolutely there. OED kind of looking really shaky now. IDI's early game is playing off with their really good macro play. You know, they noticed that OED got this first dragon. They're like, hey, they recognize the scaling potential from OED, and playing around these objectives, getting that lane priority all over the map enables OED to not even be able to contest them whatsoever, especially since the early game is much weaker than that of IDI. So great macro play coming in from this red side here. Mollywops, you see, he's just clearing out a lot of vision. There's so many wards in favor of IDI towards the top side Rift Herald that's up at the moment. And I'm gonna be assuming that's what Not Important wants to play for next.
Yeah, I think if you have these winning side lanes with Zui and Sean probably being able to play in the side lanes the 1-3-1 for themselves, getting a Rift Herald and getting those early grubs is really good. Unfortunately for IDI, it's not the full 6, as it was a nice 2 grub the 9 from OED earlier in the game, but, you know, getting 4, getting that Void Might spawn, and just making life difficult for OED is probably exactly what they wanted. Sean is just going to solo pick up first turret goal for himself, and this matchup is not going to get any nicer for Terps as time goes on.
Absolutely not. Sean working on that Iceborne Gauntlet to be able to kite his enemies down. Allowing one of the inherent weaknesses of the champion is the very low mobility in its kit. You know, it doesn't have any mobility, so using the Iceborne Gauntlet to, you know, be able to chase down targets is really useful. Sean's gonna get the pull on to Kirov. Kirov's probably not gonna be able to walk into his own jungle anytime soon. Yeah. With how much pressure IDI has been putting up, and they need to keep this pressure in order to just shut out OED entirely so they don't get that late game you know, dream that they're hoping for.
Yeah, and this is kind of what happens when you're playing with a scaling comp like this. Is Solar Flare onto the bottom lane from Maze, but it's under tower. I don't know if this is exactly the engage that IDI wants. Is Maze is just going to get a couple of free stacks off Mollywops, and now the Leona in a bit of trouble. No flash. A nice poke onto will show them all the depth charge as well. Suddenly the Smolder lane is able to turn it around. One item spike is good enough. QERW is going to pick that one up, and now immediately off the teleport, Terps is going to get the call work on, but it's denied by the pillar from Not Important. Beautifully played, but now we've got the between worlds of the backline. But Zui, you're alone, my friend. Maze is going to find that one. Not Important in the meantime. Sparring with Kirov over here has that subjugate. Very tanky on this Trundle in a 1v5 situation. Now in a 1v4. It's actually just going to be able to walk out of here and stall for enough time to Sean to pick up another turret. Still trying to walk away. Scuttlecraft doing their best to body block QERW, not let them get in. And Not Important is going to pick up an extra wave and continue walking out on the back half of the play. Maybe looking for a turnaround now as QERW has to be careful. That Trundle is very tanky and manages to walk away for now, but whew, what a turn from the Trundle.
Interesting plays coming out from IDI. I think it was a really big fumble, how they're really overestimating themselves. Smolder with Essence Reaver actually starts to deal damage. Fun fact. So really gotta start kind of respecting that. The poke coming in, if you take too many W's, you walk up to auto key range, it's really just gonna not really pay off for you. They are able to get this dragon for themselves. It's gonna be Mountain Soul this game, so really beneficial to the 3 beefy melee champions on side of IDI if they're able to secure Soul. Honestly, Mountain Soul really good for both teams, whoever picks it up here. So we're gonna be trying to fight over Dragon Soul, I would assume, this game because of how, you know, how beneficial it is to whichever side gets it. Now, that being said, big fumble coming in from IDI there. Kind of really did bring back OED into the game. Yeah, Maze didn't really get any of the kills for himself. I mean, he did get one, but there were a lot of stacks to be gained for this Smolder here at the moment. So looking at it right now, Ardio had 151, so hit the 125 spike, able to clear waves even harder now with the additional splash. Once we get to that 225, it's going to be seeing that Elder Dragon buff essentially on him. So IDI really gotta put the pressure on, but not try to overcompensate because, you know, OED still able to fight back. They still got that fighting spirit in them. IDI really got to play really coordinated and not overestimate their abilities in order to actually pull things off and deny any resources gained for OED.
Yeah, the Smolder is going to be still a while away from getting to that Elder Dragon point. Even after 125, it still takes you a little bit to get in. They want the Smolder. The bull time is going to get canceled out by QERW. You got a 3v3 in the bottom side as Mollywop is going to go in onto Maze, but you're tanking tower, and Leona doesn't do that much damage in the early game as Maze will find a second one. The Impale on it too will show them all. The barrier's going to keep them alive for a little bit longer, but the Smolder auto comes in and it's a double kill for the Dragon. But now Sean is here. The tentacles are slamming down, popping down, picking up QERW, and just to walk away from the rest of the team. OED still maybe looking to scrap, and not important that Sean feeling confident to walk forward. Kirov wants to find the engage, does have that aftershock, but not important. He's great at shredding tanks, and Sean will be the recipient of the kill there. Trade back 1-for-1, shutdown gold over to the Dragon again. I actually think it's a big win for OED here at the end of it all.
Such a big win for OED here, Brady. The tower still stands, IDI. It hasn't fallen just yet. You gotta be able to respect the fact that, you know, what else can I say? The tower is still alive, but also, like, good awareness from Kirov to play the counter gank. Knowing that there's a die potential here, considering how big that bottom side wave was. Terps is going to pick up the top side for himself. Sean, big shutdown given over to Maze. Second item coming online for the Dragon, as well as those Lucidity boots. Kira already taking a chunk. And these additional stats are really just going to be adding to those Jack of all trades, which I assume he took. I really hope he took. Really good rune on him. The Between Worlds.
Ooh, Between Worlds burned on the Maze. Mom's gonna come through and heal him up for a little bit more, but it's the Rift Herald engaged for not important. Trying to come in, but now Kirov is here. Has that Impale, looking for an opportunity to use it. Is gonna keep not important down. Mega Inferno Bomb on the backline. It's gonna tag everybody, but just on the outside. Nobody gets blasted too hard, but it manages to do enough to disengage the fight, and everyone from both sides will walk away.
I'm gonna be honest, Brittany, this fight really made no sense to take from IDI. There's no real objective up. Yeah, it's Nash that's up right at the moment, but you really want to be popping Rift Herald when that next Drake is gonna be spawned. You already have 2 Drakes to your side. If you want to play for this Mountain Soul, you want to really kind of cater towards using that Rift Herald to apply pressure mid for you to get bottom river priority for this objective that's spawning about a minute 13 time.
Yeah, the spawn spot for that Herald was also a little bit awkward. I wonder, I wasn't looking too much at the timer. I wonder if for not important that timer was just running out and he needed to summon it, but either way, not a great spot for IDI, because every fight they take where it's not like really clear what they're fighting for, they don't have the particular objective that they're looking to turn towards, it's just giving Maze more time and more targets to stack off of. This Dragon is going to be online pretty dang soon. Shojin completed, upgraded from Ornn as well. So this Dragon is a heck of a lot stronger than he was 2 minutes ago, and Maze at 200 right now exactly, so getting damn near close to getting that Elder Dragon online.
Well, one of the benefits from that last fight mid is that IDI was able to get themselves bot river prior anyways, considering how low OED was in the aftermath. Rutledge going to be trying to hold Sean here. This turret's 1 HP. Hope you can satchel away the sub.
Oh, beautiful pillar from not important. Denies the satchel distance, and this subjugate just means that you can tank it up forever. Nicely played by the IDI top of jungle, and now forcing QEW and Maze off. Maze does get hit by the Test of Spirit. Teleport in from Zui, gets that Between Worlds, a little hop and a skip into Maze's face, and blows him up with the electrocute. Some weirding damage there from Zui. Now QERW forced to run away, trying to get out of here, but no flash. Does a little Spider-Man, but not important. Still on the chase, still looking for him. Gets another bite in, but QERW, Spider-Man's on his way out, but still no mid, no AD means IDI get to set themselves to soul point.
That turret was so low, even if Dot Important wasn't there, I'm pretty sure Sean would have just brute forced his way through and just honestly hit it with 1 W auto. Now, it's really just gonna kick Optimal Esports in the shins here, as third Drake is gonna be secured, as well as this mid turret. IDI could be put on soul point for themselves, and they're going to be looking quite strong coming in. Lots and lots of money gained. Big shutdowns coming over. Maze getting caught out is super crucial. OED cannot let this happen again, because he is a huge source of the damage here, as Sean is fighting 2 tanks.
has the leap of faith, but I think might just actually die before they can get it off. Gets the leap of faith off, but it's shut down over to Terps instantly. The crowd control coming through from Orn plus Skarner is it's a little high. They got a little bit easy.
You cannot reduce knockups or suppressions with tenacity, my friends, and those are the two things that Skarner Orn have most in their kit: knockups and suppressions. Sean, welcome to the bounce house. You're not going to be able to move. We're going to call U-Haul for you so we can try to help you with that. Now, Sterix gauge completed, adds tenacity. However, as I said, the tenacity doesn't help. Maybe will help mostly against this Nautilus if he hit
the big shield
auto.
though.
The big shield is what I wanted to point out, Pretty. The big shield is very, very strong. The big shield is amazing in extended team fights. Really turns things around. You're able to like come back from an HP deficit because they catch you with it off cooldown. They're gonna be caught by surprise. Alawi is just loves fighting tanks. Actually, even if she's able to actually survive through the CC combination of OED. OED is not going to be really going to live through that entire face slam of tentacles here, as Relic going to be shoving in that way. Bod going to get a tower for himself.
TP from Rutledge. We might be looking for a collapse here. Maze is going to get hit by the Solar Flare again, but there's no follow-up, so just an extra bit of a stun as Mom's going to get called through alongside that Mega Inferno Mom. Kirov tries to get the impale onto 2, but we show them all. Does manage to get the flash away, but Maze now online on the Smolder. Some Elder Dragons starting to come through. Big burst of damage. It's a triple kill for the baby dragon. The Death Charge is going to land on the Zooey even with the flash away. Oh, beautiful hook as well. Give him the quadra kill. OED have scaled.
Baron's going to be obviously secured. Beautiful team fight coming in. IDI really getting caught out there one by one. Really didn't expect Maze to spike this early into the game. 225 stacks around 25 minutes is really good. Honestly, it's about a stack, about like 10 stacks a minute, honestly. And that's pretty good if you're smaller here. So this Baron is really gonna flip the gold around a lot. Now, what was an IDI lead has really swapped to something that's more so dead even, honestly, Britty. Like 13, 14. Yes, IDI has more towers, more dragons, but this Baron buff is gonna give OED a lot more push coming in these next couple minutes here, especially on Rutledge. The split push coming in from the Ziggs here with the wave clear, the satchel charge, damage to these towers is going to be very crucial here.
Top lane turret up there is going to go down. Still a mid lane turret left to claim, so a bit of extra standing gold for OED if they can find it. But being even at gold with a team that snowballs as hard as this IDI composition does at 30 minutes feels pretty damn good. Yeah, you're still staring down the barrel of a soul point potential soul here for IDI, which, you know, is scary, but your Smolder's online. This is a 3-item dragon now, has accelerated ahead of We'll Show Them All, and now it's only going to start to get rougher as Terps is going to continue to hand out upgrades. I imagine Rutledge will probably be the next target, maybe Kirov, but these carries for OED are online now. It's 2.5 items for Rutledge, it's 3 items for Maze, and they're not getting any weaker.
Base check for Kirov, though.
Maybe in trouble. Does have a lot of CC to follow up. As the Solar Flare does land onto 3, and there's a bullet time. GW, these no nice cancel again. The Super Mega Inferno Bomb onto that backline, and there's the Impale, plus the Call of the Fourth God. Falling off goes down, but it's support, traded for support, but now between worlds, Zooey manages to lock the whole team up, does get suppressed down, but the turnaround is here for IDI. Maze trying to stand strong, trying to keep alive, but can't burn them down. Shut down over to Zooey.
Not respecting the vision there. I think Kirov really overestimated his abilities. Tried making a play, like the proactiveness of him, but I feel like the positioning from the rest of OED was kind of whack, I would say. They're kind of bunched. They were kind of bunched up. They tanked almost a full bullet time, and like the Zooey had an amazing ult in that team fight. Played the off angle. As we said before, Aurora in these skirmishes is just really strong with the mobility. The Between Worlds is able to just, you know, encapsulate an entire enemy team in a single area, so there's really just no escape for them to kite any of the shorter range damage from IDI. Good team fight win. A lot of the Barons have been wiped away off the map. The last Baron is on to Rutledge, I believe, and now the Soul is going to be claimed. IDI Mountain Soul for themselves. They're going to be even tankier than they were before now.
Yeah, what looked like such a good start of a turnaround here for OED. They had gotten themselves back online. They picked up their Baron, their Smolder. Gets a quadra kill in the previous fight, but like you said, just a little bit over aggressive in that fight means that they immediately get smacked back down. And now on the back foot here, this Soul, the permanent buff, it's never going away. And a Trundle with a Mountain Soul who can steal the stats of Ornn, I don't think really dies in a team fight.
Absolutely. Not important here. Has so many options to choose for his subjugate. 3 targets that have a lot of good defensive stats for him to be able to sustain through an extended team fight. One thing I wanted to point out though, I think OED is really overestimating the 225, the fully online Smolder at the moment. Yes, he's 3.5 items. Yes, he's hit the 225 mark for his stacks. However, things to consider about Smolder, even though he's one of those really good late game hyper carries, there are other late game hyper carries that deal a lot more DPS, more rapid DPS than he does. Yes, he has the percent HP true damage burn, but you're still an AD caster.
Yeah,
a lot of the time you're locked away by the cooldowns of your Q and your W. You gotta kind of be able to land a really good ult here and there. So if Maze is, you know, really has to play around the cooldown of his Q, because he's not an Ezreal, right? And he's not a Zeri, he's not a Kaisa. So OED kind of have to, like, if they can extend the team fight as long as they can, yes, they will win it out, but they still have to respect the fact that, you know, Maze still needs a bit of time in between shots to be able to hit. So just try to make space for your Smolder, front line for him. They have a lot of CC to start things up, but angles needs to be found on the carries, the squishies, but it's just really hard. But because IDI also has that tankier frontline, as we said, with the Mountain Soul too, it's just going to be even harder to cut through.
With the Mountain Soul, the Leona, the Trundle, and the Alawi are going to be very, very difficult to take down. The double Spirit Visage as well for this frontline top jungle for IDI. They're just going to be, like you said, so difficult to take down, so hard to actually shred through. We do see some percent pen being built by Maze now, finally, after that 3rd item. But other than that, you're really relying on Rutledge, who hasn't been in too many of these fights outside of a big Inferno Bomb. That Solar Flare not managing to find anybody. Now Kirov potentially looking for an engagement. Zui has access to the backline. Mace is going to flash over that between worlds, but Kirov left alone on the backline. Gets a nice knock-up though. Terps follows up as well, and Maze now starts to pop off. Does get blown up though by Zui, who gets a nice hop back and away. It's a double kill for the Aurora, looking for a little bit more. They're just going to be able to walk away as the health bars are just a little too damn low. But it's a huge win there for IDI as they found access to that backline again.
So much healing coming in from Sean and Not Important, as well as Zui as well, the passer from the Aurora, putting Eddie into the sustain over time, even with the Grievous Wounds built from OAD. Maze, the crucial one that does a lot of the AoE, didn't have it online, so it really did rely on Rutledge's damage trying to get that, because you don't have to auto the Ornn with Bramble Vest if you don't want Grievous Wounds procced on your own person. So really got to be able to somehow find a way to cut back on the sustain of IDI, or else these fights, you're not going to be able to cut through the front line. The front line is just too tanky. They sustain too much in these fights, especially with Sean and the Sterix gauge. The Spirit Visage to synergize with the healing and the shielding as well. And you see Not Important has that on his person. Too. I see a Janik Rooker for Not Important as well. So a lot of mitigation for the magic damage coming in. Kirov trying to like get a bite in. Oh my god.
All the forward god. They're looking for a bigger engage here. A really nice Solar Flare to deny the call from Terps, though. Now a teleport in for the back line, but it's on to Zui. Just very squishy. You can't tank up like that. Terps is going to get traded back in response. Is Not Important. Gets that subjugate down. Kirov gets a nice impale into Juba. Where's your follow-up? Where's your extra damage? It's there. Kirov manages to find one. Immediately dies. It's a back and forth fight. Everybody getting so damn low. Shondo still healthy on this Alawi, looking for a little bit more, but now he's going to start to get poked down. Missed that Testo Spirit. Maze has enough HP to still look for more, but he's is just going to get disengaged from by that ulti or mighty pillar from Not Important. Sean has to be careful, but they're going to walk away, and OED stands strong to pick up a turn on back half of it as well.
2 for 2. That's the top jungle combo for OED. Traded out for the carries of IDI. So OED gonna be able to get these towers pushed in here. No wave clear is really present for IDI, especially since Sean recalled. But Sean really gonna have a hard time trying to clear these waves if Rutledge and Maze are just gonna be poking them down from range. So OED showing signs of life here. Still trying to figure things out. However, gotta get more stacks on this smolder here. Percent HP burn does increase with the amount of stacks of that dragon practice that you do have. A lot on them right now. The Elder Dragon going to be spawning here, and look at this push position.
Kirov does have the sweeper on, is going to spot them out, but maybe a little too late. Sean is on the rotate. You see Maze and Rutledge on the other side of your screen looking for some access into the fight. Maze is going to go to the wall, but hey, Kirov's a little tanky on the Skarner, and Mollywops is the first to die. Sean is very squishy as well. Here's that between worlds from Zooey. They found Maze! They found the backline! The bottom lane is gone! It's a double kill for Zooey. He's going to start to get locked up, and Kirov will eventually get knocked down as Rutledge is going to get some bombs over the wall, and Turks is still alive on the front line. Not important. Kiting it out, managing to stay up. He gets away from the pillar. Maybe looking for more, but that's a bit risky. That Bellows Breath does a lot of damage and he's forced to walk away. It's a messy fight, but it's 3 for 2 at the end of the day.
Zooey is going crazy right now. This is going to be the Elder Drake secured for IDI onto 3 members now. Now, it's not 5, but 3 is enough.
It'll be 4, I think. Mollywops might spawn in time.
True, that is true. Mollywops is going to get it, but then again, we're talking about support Leona here.
Yeah.
I will still say 3. I will still say 3, even though Mollywops doesn't fight. That will be important. Now, there's the Elder Drake. IDI can push for... They should be looking to push for endgame here, but it's really hard to. They can't really go 5 mid and ARAM it because of the amount of wave clear OED has. So potentially going to be looking to try to split the map. They really do need to split the map or find a pick onto some unaware side laner that with their pants down.
I want to see IDI use this Elder to just secure this Baron, because the Baron will last for a little bit longer. It'll help you with your tower pushing woes, and like they listened to me, they're just going to start it up now. They do it pretty quick between Not Important and We'll Show Them All. Mob and the Mega Inferno Bomb are going to get dropped on it, but it's a little bit too high HP to get knocked down. Turks on the other side of the map, and yeah, they don't have any access in. They can't fight in the face of this Elder Dragon, which means that Baron on all 5 members of IDI. Now with both buffs on, they can look to start running it down either mid or bottom lane, wherever they want, to try and find some objectives.
I'm going to say this right now, Brady. I really dislike the build coming out from Rutledge right now. I really think he needs this Rabadon's death cap, but right now he's kind of opting for Morella Nomicon, it looks like.
Yeah, just finish.
And I don't think that I think that without death cap on the champ like Ziggs, you're not going to be able to cut through these tanks. Even with the void staff, you just don't have enough AP really to be as impactful. You got the Kanik Rookerns online for Not Important, the Spirit Visage. Even though it's not the most amazing MR item, it's still an amount of MR. And now, like, Rutledge, if you really want to be dealing damage, I hope the fight lasts like 10 minutes long.
Zooey forced to hop away there, get across the veil as Kirov maybe caught out. The solar flare is there. That Elder Dragon flash over the pillar, but not far enough over the wall. Gets knocked down, and the real Elder Dragon is there. Mega Inferno Bomb does a little bit of damage, but We'll Show Them All has the BT. They're doing fine. In the meantime, Sean on the bottom side continuing this push down. OED starting to get pulled apart here in the late game.
Sean's gonna chunk Terps. These Baron and Power Cannon minions are gonna get this bot lane inhibitor turret. Sean just gonna keep, waltzing through. His team is gonna re-push the mid lane here. They've been so distracted with Sean on the bot side, it allowed his team to take more control again mid. Now, here we go. IDI looking for the end game here.
Looking for the backline. Mace does get the flash out, and Zooey is gone. So already down 1 member, but they just want the turrets. They're just looking for the objectives, but down your mid laner, down a lot of your burst. How can you keep this push going? The Elder Dragon has fallen off now. It's just the Baron buff. can they manage to keep anything going? Will this turret fall down? One more shot from the Baron up cannon minion. Will find it. QERW looking for an engage on Deshaun, but he has that leap of faith. I don't know if this is the fight you want with not important in the area as well. They'll get locked down. They'll manage to find Sean as well, so we'll be traded 1-for-1 and shut down over to Rutledge.
All right. Some kills secured. A lot of damage already has been done though to your base. If you're OAD, you're kind of in an awkward spot right now. You do get these kills, but it's a bit too little too late. The rest of IDI gets their resets off. Any items they don't have, they're probably going to be completed by now. Just going to get this re-push through. Elder dissipated a long time ago, but still, Baron is active for just a little bit of time. They're going to be able to shove these waves out. They're just going to have permanent prio across the map here. If I'm assuming anything, considering how risky it is pushing into OAD's base with the amount of wave clear, with the amount of damage that they do deal now with this smolder, IDR are going to probably try to look for a Baron play unless OAD makes one really big silly mistake.
Yeah, we're starting to get to the point in the game where people are selling their boots and finding that 6th item slot. Sean sold the Mercury Transit, has now the Overlord's Blood Mail. I mean, we were mentioning earlier that the amount of CC coming through from OED is mostly based on knockups and suppressions, which can't be negated by the CC. So it's not bad, I don't think.
If I can say anything, I think personally, I think movement speed is one of the most broken stats, if not the most broken stat.
Yeah,
in the game.
It's pretty good.
And a champion like Alawi, if you don't land that test of spirit, you're really not catching up to anyone.
More time on the back line. Maze is going to get popped. QERW is next as well. They found the bottom lane again. Not important on a rampage. Now shut down over to Sean. Onto Rutledge as well. Everybody from OED falls apart. It's Terps left standing. It's 4 for nothing. IDI in the base. They're going to lock it down. Mountain Soul in their pockets. They'll finally end game 1, 40 minutes in.
Yep, as I said before, Brittany, the silly mistake was there, and it was exploited by IDI. They're going to blow up the Nexus and take this game 1 for themselves. Really good showing, honestly, from both teams. It was a little bit back and forth, but I feel like IDI mostly had jurisdiction over the Rift for the majority of the game. I'd say like 60-65%. OED kind of tried to fight back. They knew they had the scaling potential, but that missed position in that top side of their base, kind of just stepping up too far, not really respecting the dash range of Aurora's between worlds. It's actually, you know, quite big because she does dash forward and then the ult radius pops and then you're just like, oh great, I'm stuck. I didn't expect myself to get stuck. So not gonna be surprised if OED do ban out the Aurora from Zooey.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna say
like we know how to play against it.
Yeah, I think whether you're blue or red side at this point, if one of your players doesn't play Aurora, you should probably just be banning it. This champion, despite a couple of nerfs being thrown her way, is still insanely good. And while the scoreline, I think, was a bit rough for Zooey, getting 6 deaths in there, the most on their team outside of Mollywops on support, it still felt like an insanely impactful pick. Those between worlds were putting in so much work in the team fights, and every time a pick was happening, it was because the follow-up was there from the between worlds.
Absolutely there. Honestly, great showing from both teams. Game 1, gonna go over to Iridescent on Ignite. We're gonna cut to a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not go anywhere. Once we come back, we'll be formulating the draft for you for Game 2.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here for the start of game number 2 between OED and IDI. I almost wanted to say ODI, and that is not right. It's Optimal Esports Dynasty, and it's Iridescent Dawn Ignite. After a slobber knocker of a game 1, IDI take the lead, and now we're jumping back into the draft in just a moment. IDI did take the first game here, and are staying on the red side as OED choose to stay on blue. Now, Nash, I think we're both in agreement. If you're not going to first pick it, we probably ban Aurora, yeah?
I agree. I feel like IDI, I feel like they were just, they were going crazy on that champion. Ziri was really just like blowing up the backline, hitting really good ults. Like there was nothing really stopping Zooey on that Aurora because I feel like OED was just so distracted, and I feel like they don't really know how to counteract it. So there's the ban, as we were saying beforehand. I knew it was gonna get banned out this time around. OED not really doesn't look like they're gonna play it, so just gonna take it away. And there's the insta lock lead.
I like this. This is good. This is consistent engage, and we were saying in the draft earlier that in terms of premier engage supports, Leona is the one to go to, and Nautilus is kind of secondary. So I like this call from OED, but it does leave the Lilia open that was banned away last game for IDI. And AP junglers, despite some nerfs thrown their way, are still pretty dang strong here in League of Legends.
Yeah, Lilia, if you don't really draft anything that can kind of just like stop her in her tracks, it's gonna be really, really hard to shut down. And as I said, Lilia's gonna be coming in, but IDI, I think they missed a pick.
Yeah, it is going to be that Lilia first pick. It's I'm not going to call it a draftable issue, but it was just a last second pick that wasn't able to come through, and they're going to grab the Nautilus alongside that Lilia in first pick.
All right, so the Lilia, without it being banned, because Aurora is taking that Lilia ban spot, gonna be locked in here. I've been seeing a lot of Lilia played in LCS lately, so Nautilus gonna come in as well, or IDI, so bit of a support swap around coming in this game. I want to see OED respond here. Elise,
what?
is a very interesting pick. I did not expect at least one bit.
That's locked in. That's real. That's
like, when is the last time you've seen this champion played?
Season 6, maybe. It's been a long time. Elise is not my favorite in the meta, despite being, I think, a good early game AP jungler. She's not one that takes advantage of the burn items, that faded ashes plus its builded out items very much. She is the AP assassin. She's like Evelyn, but is not common either in solo queue or in pro play. So I think OED might just be relying on a lack of experience here for IDI playing against this champion.
And the Aphelios lock in as well, coming in for IDI here. So another very strong late game AD carry. Although, you know, has been fallen off a bit, I would say, because the lack of, it does have a lack of mobility. It does take a little bit of more mechanical understanding than some other champions. Aphelios doesn't have like a big safety net built into his kit. Does rely a lot on his team, just like the Smolder lock-in does. But some things I wanted to go over as a Ziggs ban gonna come out here, as well as an Alawi ban and a Renekton. Again, IDI don't want that Renekton locked in. Some things I want to kind of come around for Elise. Pros of Elise: strong early game, incredible dive potential, setup, really good invades. Cons: you're useless after 20 minutes if you haven't won the game by then. No backline access, and then after 20 minutes you're cocoon bot. That's it. So really gotta kind of, Kirov really has to pop off early game honest Elise if he wants to be able to, you know, push his team forward. And I really don't like the combination they picked with the Smolder. I just don't think it's, you know, like, matches that well.
Yeah, it feels similar to Leona Ziggs in the bottom lane, where in the early game the carry is not that strong and is just gonna sort of like play it passive, but Leona does enough damage and provides enough with the passive plus the amount of crowd control she has. She can set up the team for success. And now IDI are going to be the ones to pick away here with the Alawi ban from OED. They're saying, okay, if you want to play the Alawi Ornn matchup, we'll just take the Ornn from you.
I want to see an Aatrox pick here. There's already 3 immobile champions on IDI, and 3 of them are pretty short range. I think Aatrox with Leona is really, really good here. Call me a bit biased, you know, but I just think he's a decent champion. I think, you know, the Camille works too. The Camille works too. I understand the Camille picked up because in case they want to lock down the Lily, but the Vel'Koz mid lane is kind of crazy.
Okay, all right.
Yo, Rutledge is cooking with this Vel'Koz. Is this a zap?
We're picking spicy here for OED in game number 2, and I think when you're up against competition like this in IDI, you kind of have to pull out all the stops. I know Rutledge is a Vel'Koz player from time to time. I wasn't expecting this to be locked in. I certainly wouldn't be expecting the Yasuo to counter, but Hey! All right,
Okay.
I like this in combination with the Ornn and the Nautilus. With a Lilia to set up as well, you get an AD mid plus an AP jungler. This is really good. And I think OED's draft, I'm gonna be honest, Nash, I'm not a huge fan. I think it's very discordant here about what they want to do. They have a couple of early game engaged champions, but they also have some late game scalers. I don't know.
Well, I totally agree with you. You have two champs that like to hit from the backline, and then you have 3 champs that want to dive the enemy backline. Lockdown for the Camille, lockdown for the Leona, at least trying to follow up, somehow, some way, somehow, because, getting on the backline is the only way she'll be able to deal damage. IDI, honestly, they have a more well-rounded, their comp's more understood from this draft here. They got a lot of knockups, got a lot of setup for the Yasuo, a lot of good team fight potential, late game carrying from the Aphelios, the Yasuo in the skirmishes for the side lane. Aphelios and Lilia carry potential is pretty strong. However, Lilia, if she's able to move in these team fights, is really up to if Terps wants to with this Camille, how they want to use the Hexacle Tomato. Again, in my opinion, I think a top lane champ that played better front to back would have been a lot better for OED's draft to try to dissuade the engage from Nautilus and Ornn. Like example, Aatrox was front to back very well. He would only really struggle against the Yasuo, I would say. But Camille already locked in, very strong champ in the current solo queue meta state at the moment. Very, very good side laner. Potentially will be able to match the Yasuo if they go the correct rune setup. I hope they go Conquer, and I hope they don't go Grasp. If he goes Grasp, he's never going to be able to outdo this Yasuo whatsoever. So hopefully Terps goes a smarter rune setup. Doesn't really need to go Grasp into Ornn, because the Ornn lane is not really hard. Yes, you don't have Divine Sunder anymore, so your tank killing power is removed, because now you only have Trinity Force. But if you Conquer, your right game scaling is increased by tenfold, so it's gonna be really hard to match you in the side if you do go Conquer and play for that late.
Yeah, we do have a bit of a switch up stylistically here, I think, for both sides. OED playing much more for the early game with Elise and Leona here, and IDI hoping to scale with their Ornn Yasuo Aphelios composition. We've got a spicy one here for game number 2. We're going to cut through a short break while we get ourselves here for the game. We'll see if IDI can take it in a clean sweep, or if OED are going to continue to fight back and send us to game 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back when we're on the Rift. Welcome back, everybody. We are here on the Rift for game number 2 between Optimal Esports Dynasty and Iridescent Dawn Ignite. I'm still Brody, that's still Nash, and we still have some wacky drafts here in this game. We've got the Lily that was banned away in game 1. We have Yasuo Ornn on one side, and we have Elise Vel'Koz on the other. What the heck am I looking at?
Well, Brady, you kind of pointed it out here. We got some spice going on. Yes, ma'am. You said it yourself. So, some things to kind of consider for OAD's interesting draft is that Terps on this Camille are hoped he would go Conqueror. Unfortunately, he went Grass. He did not go TP Ignite. He went Flash Ignite. This is a little sadder for me as a top lane player. But one thing to consider is that Kirov on this Elise, even though it's like not something you see very common in the current meta state, it's a very heavy early game ganker, and Camille has probably one of the best setups top lane for ganks for her jungler. Sui is already playing aggressive with the E-Star. Also just has like just dashes to the menu wave, gonna get some autos on a Rutledge. But as I said here, Terps able to set up ganks onto Sean here. If he gets good enough trades to poke Sean out, he's gonna be able to stack a wave playing. If he plays the wave state correctly and poke Sean out too, he'll be able to set up a dive potential here. As you can see, Kira already padding towards the top side, or just clearing the top side first. Already did his chickens, he's doing his top side now. Gonna be playing towards hopefully getting Terps ahead, trying to perma camp this this orange here. Now, another thing is that though Leona does have good setup as well, you're also playing with a smolder, so the damage is going to be quite low from the AD carry. It's going to be all kind of be dependent on the jungler. You only like that if you're ganking bot lane.
Yeah, we were talking between the game here just about what the actual game plan for OED is going to be in this early game. You talked about it a little bit here. Kirov having towards this top side and playing just to try and get Terps ahead. If this Camille can get ahead of the Ornn, they're in a good spot, but already Kirov actually looking for it. Hook shot, wall dive, nice flash away from Sean. Sidesteps the cocoon as well, so a loss of a summoner, but manages to stay alive. And the longer that Sean can do this, the better I think it will be for IDI, because meantime on the rest of the map, not important, just going to start padding down and start taking away some camps.
Some smooth movement from Sean off dodging that cocoon here. Terp's gonna go for an aggressive play here. Thing with Camille is honestly, gonna take a bit of a knockup though. Not really good movement of Terps there. Gotta really space and be able to dodge that rupture, that volcanic rupture coming from Sean. If you do dodge that, you don't get slowed. If you get slowed by it, you're most likely gonna get hit by the Searing Charge knockup, just how the way the Ornn matchup goes. But as long as Terps trades, so if you're Grass Camille, you really just want to take short trades with your passive shield up, and you're just gonna win every single trade whatsoever, as long as like the opponent laner doesn't have anything to kind of chase you down or like, you know, just extend the fight even further. Rutledge is holding his own into a hard matchup. Sui, though, footwork sustaining well. So honestly, any poke that Rutledge does to him is pretty much mitigated.
Yeah,
D-Shield second win.
D-Shield second win.
And not important though. The counter jungle here
does get the smite away, so is level 4 versus Kirov's level 3, and now Zui's here with a knockup, a nice wind wall as well. Get away from Kirov. Rutledge has to be careful, is forced to flash away. Not important, getting a lot of damage, but it's a great void burst away from Rutledge, and now not important, is in trouble. QRW on the first rotate, first blood over to Kirov. The IDI bottom lane is now going to rotate in. The hook goes wide, a nice sidestep for QEWR, and it's a big play from OED to punish the counter jungle.
All right, we get the chickens, and what happens? We get first blood. I love this game so much. Honestly, not important, kind of overreaching. He He went for the play because he knew Zooey had the shove, was going to hit the level 5 a lot sooner, but doesn't anticipate Q or W moving up on the roam timer. The wave wasn't fully shoved in for IDI on the bot side, and they weren't really trying to fast push it, so Q or W just has time to move. Maze, no threat of getting dove under tower there. Honestly, pretty solid response from OED.
Yeah, a big response there, and I think like we mentioned in draft and now early on into the game, if the Elise gets online, if she starts picking up kills, already 1 stack on a Darksteel, she can really start to snowball the game out of control. But the reason you don't see her very much is just the fact that that snowball falls off very, very quickly if you are not at like 10 kills at 10 minutes. So keep your eyes on Kirov on this Elise. If Kirov can get ahead, it's a definite carry opportunity, but the lanes are a little weak for a carry jungler. You're not going to get a lot of assists out of your Smolder, out of your Vel'Koz in the early game. So I think life is difficult for Kirov, but so far playing it pretty well.
Rutledge is kind of struggling in the CS department. I don't think it's because Zooey is bullying him. I think he's just, no offense, he's kind of having a little bit of struggle with last hitting. Kiwi or W is spotted mid, moving up towards the top side because see Kira already on these Void Grubs, trying to push the early game for his team. Void Grubs, very good early game objective. Sean trying to go fishing, no catch there, and honestly no contest on these Void Grubs because not important is doing his Krugs at the moment. So now they get the notification that Kirov was topside again. So now 3 Void Grubs taken. Maze is, there's no dive angle here. I don't think so. Maze is pretty healthy under tower, has flash still. Q or W just trying to get Rutledge to help shove in, but now
Sleepy time in the mid lane, gets eats down. Rutledge under half HP, but Kirov is here for the assist as well. The Venomous Bite knocks down Zooey through the flash. Not important, can't find the last hit on the Rutledge either. Now with no flash, up against the Leona and the Elise, will eventually get knocked out. Rutledge will find that last hit. It's a huge win for OED in the early game.
Oh my goodness, it is a huge win for the early game. OED looking so much stronger out the door here. 7 minutes in. Void Grove secured so early. They're gonna get this Hextech Drake for themselves as well. You see the moves coming down there. No contest here, but actually maybe there could be potentially. Zooey doesn't have sums on the bot side river. We'll show them all. Has some really good guns for a team fight too. So I don't think they really want to mess with the dragon, so they're gonna just fall off of it. Terps.
It's a nice precision protocol there into Sean, who's going to take a little bit of extra damage there, but this is what the early Camille matchup is going to look like. You get some extra damage off that precision protocol, you abuse that passive shield, and Ornn doesn't feel great about it. It's Sean not managing to find a solo kill as opposed to Terps in that last game, so already the Ornn a little bit behind as opposed to last time around. But on the other side of the matchup, I'm just looking at this Darksteel from Kirov sitting at 5 stacks, and man, that's the exact spot you want your Elise to be. If she's going to be relevant in this game outside of just being a cocoon bot, getting stacks, getting kills, getting ahead of the curve is exactly where you want to see her.
As a certain EU West streamer says, need Medjai's never toss. Kirov already snowballing here. Really big threat here, so really just showing us how strong this Elise can be, and I really do like the Sword Shoes rush here. It allows more movement across the map, the extra pen. Sean not gonna hit that searing charge there. Terps just trying to shove this wave in.
Terps is very low. I think has to be careful here of a potential all-in.
No.
Doesn't have the searing charge, so can't find it, but Call to Forge God is available. It should probably be dodged out by Terps on the Hextech ultimatum, but that's the skill check in this matchup. But in the meantime, while we were watching top, it was the dragon taken by IDI, importantly for them, because now if they have to play the later game, they can look for it. Terps force the flash out. Cookshot wall dive manages to get him to escape, so loss of a flash, but no loss of life.
One thing I'd like to point out in this matchup that Camille has a lot of jurisdiction over, and it's all up to the reaction of the Camille player, is the hookshot interaction with the volcanic rupture from the Ornn. You can stand next to the volcanic rupture and the
moment you see Ornn charge up that searing charge, you can interrupt it with your own hook shot. As I see a gank here.
Not important is in the area, but I think Sean might just be a little too squished. The Lil's and Lullaby does land onto 2, but it's the immediate repel from the Elise. Is going to drop down. Gets to choose where to drop down. I didn't know how that interaction works. And not important now. Forced on the run. The volatile Spiderling won't manage to find the burst there, but a big win for OED again. Zooey is here, but you're a level 8 Yasuo with no completed item. There's not much you're doing in this matchup. Hang on. Wait a minute. Mollywops is here with the hook. Here I'm now the one in trouble, and it's gold over to Zooey. Hook shot wall dive away from Terps. Will manage to escape with his life. Rutledge and QERW are here. Zooey doesn't have that last breath anymore, but can still look for potential damage onto Terps. And a stun though from QERW, and stuns up again off that Zenith blade. The solar flare, everything onto Zooey, knocks him down. It's a rough spot for IDI to be in, but now it's QERW, the one out of position. Very tanky on the Leona with that Aftershock plus the W, and managed to just walk it out of there. Yeah, this Leona champion is pretty dang good.
Rutledge needs to stay topside. There's too low of health bars to be able to hold this wave. Fortunately, Sean doesn't want to bite off more than he could chew, and Mollywops is just going to back off as well. But in my honest opinion, I feel like Terps and QERW should have left topside, as they're going to try to make a play here. I guess not. They should have really just left topside to Rutledge, because this is just too risky. Look what happens now. IDI fishing for these low HP targets.
A salute in the chat for QERW, who has been doing the support job, left abandoned by the squad, and will just be free food over to Sean. I think they could have given that over to Not Important, but they don't opt for it this time around, so it will be the Ornn picking up that first kill. And, you know, IDI gets something at the very least.
Yeah, bad macro decision coming in for OAD, but not the biggest loss, because only the support died from the side of OAD. Rutledge gonna try to absorb the CS in the mid lane here. Getting a lot of kills at the moment. Working towards that Blackfire Torch, so we can see. However, the bot lane is just pretty much a farm festival at the moment. As you can see, we'll show them already surmounted a 150 gold bounty just from CSing, just from existing. These Void Grubs are being contested. Currently 4 now for OED. Sui and Not Important being zoned off, but Rutledge, does he know this is more than no?
All of the Ford God coming in, doesn't manage to find a knockup. It's propelled away from it. Now Terps, maybe the one in trouble, is going to get that ulti down on the Mollywops, but he's going to start to get knocked up, locked up. There's the Lullaby as well, onto 2. Can I find anybody? They finally find Terps to lock that kill down, but it's just one off of so many resources being used. The rest of the OED members will scamper away, but it's the 4 grubs already confirmed for them, so they're happy to walk away with their prize.
And that kill went over to Mollywops, the support. Not really someone you want the gold on. QERW trying to get a turnaround. There's the flash.
Yeah, forces the flash on the Mollywops. Again, no Hex flash on the Nautilus, so not able to get a lot of value after losing that flash. And pretty important summoner spell for that Nautilus gone to guarantee 2 grubs over to IDI.
I just stopped the bleeding here from the grubs. OAD gonna have that one grubby. That one grub might spawn for them once they get these towers here. Honestly, Rutledge playing this Vel'Koz, he's been impressing me. What I've been seeing so far. Sean is probably gonna get run down here.
Yeah, in a lot of trouble.
Camille. Oh yeah,
no flash available. Rest in peace, Ornn. You will be missed. Terps manages to pick him up.
Yeah, once you get Trinity Force on that Camille champion, I'm pretty sure if you're a tank, you can never 1v1 her ever again. It's just how the champion works, just, you know, how things just go. I feel like Terps could have played the early game a little better, but now the item spike comes in. That has a solar flare.
We'll show them all is the potential target, but now stuck in a 3v2. QERW trying to get out with that Zenith blade. Mollywops looking for some follow-up, not important. Doesn't manage to land the eat, but they should just be able to chase down Leon. I say should. She's got flash though and will be able to walk away. Now Kira looking for a flash, trades it with We'll Show Them All. Does manage to take a little bit of Infernum poke after the fact, but no mana and no Moonlight Vigil for We'll Show Them All, I think means that they just walk away.
Honestly, you can say they burned 3 flashes. I feel like Kirov was kind of overreaching there.
trying to follow up onto something too low of health bars to try to turn things around. But fortunately, no deaths, no kills given over to IDI. Terps just gonna try to shove waves in at the moment. The second Drake has spawned. It is going to be another Ocean Drake second. Kirov already clearing vision down here. His team is around him a little bit. Zuli is just gonna get this wave mid shoved in, but you're gonna see the bodies of IDI gonna take control of this bot river first. Kirov already starting the Drake though. This is quite risky positioning. As you can see, they're collapsing.
Oh, careful, Kirov, careful. Can't get that repel off and is gonna get smacked down by the last brat. Zui looking for more off the back of it, but can't find very much. Does get zoned off by QERW. Sean on a potential flank here, has that call to Forge God, looking for it onto Rutledge, manages to find it, gets that knock up as well to follow. Solar Player doesn't manage to find anything, but Mollywop's very, very low, and so is on board. We'll show them all on the other side of the fight, just happily walking away with the red and blue guns. Sean taking a bit of extra poke on the back half, but it's dragging over to IDI, and they'll start their stacking towards an Infernal Soul point.
Yeah, Kirov starting the dragon up down there without his team, without any vision deeper into IDI's jungle. It was just way too big of a risk, and we saw how that really paid off for him. It's not the end of the game just yet though. Infernal Soul will be the soul of this game, which I feel like both teams are going to be trying to look towards, as another solo turret going to be given over to Washul Mal. He's gotten so much solo gold this game so far off of these roams of Mollywops, just like being able to just farm it up. Aphelios, even though Terps is out.
Yeah, we'll be able to be just fine. And yeah, the Aphelios, We'll Show Them All, has gotten a ton of gold, but hasn't had a lot of impact in the game yet. Still 0-0 on kills and assists. Does have that Bloodthirster in inventory, so is pretty much able to just stay in lane forever and keep sustaining versus the poke out of this Smolder, but he's not going to be able to get too much else done. Maybe he can look for 1v1 here. It's a level down on Maze. I'm not sure they even want this, but with red and white looking for a fight, procs that Q, gets some extra Chakram stacked up. Maze, if you got mom to call, now's the time, but she is away from base. We'll Show Them All, just finds the solo kill.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as I was saying earlier, like Aphelios like into Smolder, with Smolder's much weaker early game. Yeah, like Aphelios just has like kind of freedom to just do what he wants if the Smolder doesn't respect him.
Don't worry, Sean. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Sean trying to fight back on this horn here, you know, really disrespecting Terps here, because for good reason, because he wants this Herald, so he's going to try to shove this top wave in. The Herald will be secured for not important. It's going to be just a really easy objective taken. See where they're going to try to use it. I would presume mid lane to just open up map pressure in favor of IDI here. Already 2 dragons for themselves.
I think they could look for it either mid or top. I think they could potentially save it for when this next dragon does spawn in about 2.5 minutes. Just try and force the members of OED to respond to that charge and make sure that they're losing something, whether they go to contest the dragon or they go to stop the base pushing from that Herald. But you're off to see a nice sidestep from We'll Show Them All. Mollywop's doesn't get the flash in on it to Kirov. I like the attempt there though from the Nautilus. A good look at the very least.
Yeah, Punish not there yet. Maze is down here by himself against Zui. This is not someone you want your AD carry to side lane versus. Yasuo is just a nightmare for an AD carry in the side lane. Maze really just has to be careful. It doesn't have the flash for like another minute or so, or a little bit less. Zui here though, moving in, not important.
Sleepy time for Kirov is up in the repel, so we'll be able to escape, but you're still sleepy even up on your web. It's a kill over to not important. They're first of the game, and not going to be able to find too much off of it. It's not like a kill near an objective take, but gold for your Lilia is something you're pretty happy to have.
It just hurts seeing that because Kirov has no more Darkseal stacks on that component whatsoever. So I feel like Medjai's is kind of out of the question.
It's a little off the table now. Yeah,
it's just not really an option anymore. Kirov really gotta be more respectful of lane priority here and how many teammates he has around him versus where IDI could potentially be, because IDI, as you can see on the map, they own OED's bot side jungle. It's just theirs. So many wards, so much vision taken. They're gonna take any opportunity to control bot side because of how many Krakens they have. KiwiRW working his best way to like clear out the vision, but try to find a pick on the Terps, but again, Camille try to catch it.
Yeah, good enough to just walk out. But I think the funny thing is, for this game, we were talking about Elise, haha, funny champion does get to fall off, you know, at 20 minutes. That pick happened at like 18 and a half minutes. And pretty much on the dot, losing all of those Darksteel stacks. Has a Lichbane completed as the first item here? I'm not 100% sure I agree with that. I think Lichbane is better at second or third when you have a little bit more AP behind it, but for Elise especially, you just want damage on damage on damage, and Lichbane is an early spike to get some.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's Sean trying to fight back. Terps, not gonna allow him. Terps building Defiant. Is Terps building Sundered Sky?
It's either Sundered Sky or the Bloodmail or
QERW out of position.
Yeah, flash forced out of the Leona. No hex flash for QERW either. While we're here at this team fight prep, I'm wondering if we can get a check on Smolder stacks very quickly before this fight starts. 172, so not at that 225 just yet. Getting closer and closer though, and see as this dragon spawns up, the Herald is going to be popped in mid lane, so it's going to force some of the attention away for OED. They're going to have to move towards this mid lane, and Kirov out of position now. Mom's going to get called, but a great wind wall from Zuli. The Smolder player though saves Kirov's life, forced to flash out, but will manage to survive. QRW goes in, goes down. Not important, finds that now turns on the other side of the fight, forced out in trouble. Rutledge meantime as well will show the ball, flashing over the wall, showing them the business. It's a double kill over and not important. And it's a massive win for IDIs. They're starting to scale into the mid lane game.
That flash over the wall just to secure the kill. I don't think it was necessary, but pretty flashy indeed, no pun intended. The dragon is going to be secured for IDI. They're going to get more and more resources for themselves. Infernal Soul on this team is incredibly scary. I think the most oppressive champion on IDI's team with this soul is going to be this Aphelios. And you just like, it's gonna be really hard to deal with. Like, not really too much. There is dive potential for this Aphelios, but he does have the cleanse available. And Terps has to be able to use the Hextech Ultimatum, but honestly, if they just 5-man huddle around, we'll show them all IDI. They just do that. The Camille won't be able to do anything because outside of ult, Camille doesn't really do well in team fights. Her strength really does rely in the 1v1 in the side lane, and Sean is respecting it, and even when he's not respecting it, it looks like he's kind of giving Terps a run for his money. So that does look like a Sterix Gage second for Terps, which I don't like.
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. You do have some CC that you want to take off. You're going to be able to negate some of the sleep and a bit of the Nautilus crowd control, but again, with Ornn, Brittle plus knockouts means that that extra tenacity isn't going to provide you all that much. You're really just relying on that big, healthy shield in a team fight to give you enough time to lock down an AD carry, but when you're looking at an Aphelios with BTIE, I don't know if you have enough time in the world to knock that guy down.
You need Rival Hydra second on this champion. You need to be able to clear waves with the TM item. As you can see, the wave clear is not online at all. Ornn already seems like he has way better wave clear than this Camille at the moment. And now, this is engage coming in from QERW.
It's onto Mollywops, who's fairly tanky. They're going to get the slow one to not important. The depth charge onto Kirov just for a bit of negation. I think IDI just wants to walk away from this. They don't want to find any extra fight, but Zui maybe looking for something. Has the last breath onto Kirov. Gets the flash as well. Terps wants to follow. Has the Hex elevated. Will pick up shutdown gold over on the Yasuo. That Sterix shield going to keep Terps alive. And now Mollywops the one in trouble. Rutledge is going to get some burst out and pick that one up. And now Terps still healthy on this front line. Managing to get away, but it's one more shot from Will show them all to lock them down. Sean now, Call the Forge God, finds it onto 2 with the Moonlight Vigil as well. Rutledge gets shut down. Not important, goes on a rampage, gets a big sleep on the QERW and locks down a ton of damage onto that support. It looked bad for IDI at the start, but they turned it around into a big fight.
Yeah, no sustained damage coming out from OED. Not able to extend the team fight as much as IDI can. Zui did go a little deep, but
able to make it a 3-for-1. It's going to be converted to a Baron now for IDI here. The teleport coming in as well from Zui just to be able to secure it. So the DPS from the Yasuo combined with the Aphelios is just going to shred this objective down. No way to contest this from OED whatsoever. Just getting zoned by Sean on this one. Kirov.
Yeah, that was full burst combo from Kirov, by the way. That was everything on the Sean, and yeah, didn't do too much damage. It's gonna be the Baron over to IDI. No steal coming through from Mom, and yeah, this was a point in the game where I think, yeah, the Elise truly has fallen off. Hasn't even completed its second item yet at 25 minutes. Just didn't get fed enough in the early game to continue to have the influence necessary at this point in the game.
Well, when you're against a heavy farmer, like a huge power farmer like Lilia, you have to be able to get these kills because you're not going to be able to out-tempo Lilia in farm whatsoever on your champion. Your jungle clear is not as fast as hers. You don't move around the map as fast as she does. The team fights are way better on her, so if you don't get online early, the cleanse is burnt from We'll Show Them All. QRW using the solar flare mid, as we saw there, but yeah, if Kirov didn't really utilize his lead to the best of his ability could, Don Porn is really just gonna skip around freely and do what he wants.
Yeah, this is the sort of problem and the issue we were having in draft with this Elise pick. If you don't get online and you're not playing the game perfectly, you really don't have as much influence as you need to. And not important on the Lilia was able to power farm early, and now with the Lilting Lullaby and team fights, it's just able to apply so much pressure and so much damage in these fights. Second item finally completed for Kirov. Maze has that Elder Dragon, but last time we saw the Elder Dragon, it didn't work out that well for OED. And they're looking down the barrel of a Infernal Soul if they can't find a way to contest this.
There were a lot of more chunky frontline champions for IDI last game. Oh, what is going on here?
Zui looking to get aggressive, gets a knockup on to Terps, but doesn't go for that last breath.
It's not TP.
Yeah, not taking a little bit of a Lee syndrome there, but Sean holding on to that TP for now. Mama's going to be burned just for a bit of vision. They'll spot out that the dragon was started, but it's still fairly high HP. QRW and the rest of OED just walking forward. They're looking for a potential engage, but it's just on the Mollywops. I don't think this is the target they want. They'll take a fat chunk out of the health bar, though, and now with the Life Ward Disintegration Ray, Mollywops gets burned down. Not important now on the front line, but inside that Hextech ultimatum, you're just going to get locked away. We'll show the ball with a big blue light vigil, but doesn't have enough damage just yet. Not a big crit on that Infinity Edge. Now Sean teleporting onto that back line, helping out the team. Zui is here. Last breath not available, already used, but it means that Yasuo has that percent armor pen. The damage coming through for Zui. Looking for one more, doesn't manage to find that Q2. That Steel Tempest just a hair's breadth away. Nice knockback from Terps. Everybody manages to walk away for OED except for Rutledge, but the Dragon still in control of IDI.
Scary team fight there. We're engaging onto the Nautilus as QERW on the Leona does. I don't know if that's the real prime target you want to take. Yes, we get those 2 picks, but the turnaround, because we burn all our cooldowns on these 2 champions, the turnaround from the DPS champions of the Yasuo and the affiliates are able to just kind of dish out so much damage. The Moonlight Vigil really securing this objective for them. They didn't even need to kill them all. They just needed to get them, like, you know, out of the fight or get them out of fighting shape. And as I said that, they are able to get this Infernal Soul here for themselves. So it's just going to be it's going to be a 3-item Aphelios with an Ornn upgraded Bloodthirster, and he might be able to just explode them if he has blue gun Moonlight Vigil. Everyone explodes.
It's a 50-50 shot because he does have that 50% crit. If that blue Moonlight Vigil crits in a team fight, that is dead OED. This team is not very tanky outside of QERW, who really only has that Warmogs to their name, and other than that, it's some extra HP for Terps from that Sterak shield, and I guess, no, there's actually no other tank stats at all. Maze has some health off of the Sphere Shojin, but yeah, it's a very squishy team, and potentially looking to take advantage of it. Terps does have that hookshot wall dive, so we'll be able to walk away, but yeah, IDI,
squeeze.
Yeah, this is not a good spot for the Camille to be in. Lilting Lullaby not even going to be used. We'll show them all, just able to auto them down. Has that blue gun now available if they want to find any sort of fight.
Yeah, top laner getting cut out there. 40-second death timer
crucial. That's Camille off the map. Any side lane pressure that OAD hoped they would have is just, gone now. You see the 1-3-1 coming in from IDI now as a response. Now the waves coming in from the bot and top side first before the mid lane wave does. Zooey really
Rutledge. Oh, Rutledge, you want to be here.
No.
The Keyblade as well. Beautiful mechanics there from Zooey. Not exactly a Keyblade, but just getting that EQ off before the ulti. Beautifully done. A rough spot for Rutledge as they get picked up in the side lane. Now Kirov looking for an engage on Deshaun, but that's a very tanky Ord who does a lot more damage than you. Will show the ball is going to go unstoppable, and this might be the last fight here for OED on the breadth of their base. QERW will fall on the back line, and the rest of OED are going to start to burn away. Not important on the Lilia. Huge here in game number 2.
That's game over now. IDI looking fresh, looking cleaner towards their mid to late game shenanigans now. They're just going to take down these Nexus turrets, and now the Nexus will fall here.
An incredible showing here from IDI, coming out with a huge 2-0 against their top of the standing competitions. Execute for Zooey as well through the life form disintegration away. IDI came here to prove